everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope you are all having a great week. Today's episode is pre recorded, just like Monday, since I am still currently out of the country in Helsinki, Finland. But as you guys know, I couldn't let that stop us from diving into these important missing person cases. For those of you joining for the first time, or for those of you that just like to hear me say it, I am Teri True Crime, and this is Midday Missing, where we bring much needed awareness to current missing person cases. Now, before we get started, I am excited to share that True Crime and Wine Time Productions is now officially TCWT Media. Yay! So we are growing and evolving, bringing you even more engaging content. But rest assured, everybody, all of your favorite shows will continue just under our new company name. At TCWT Media, we offer a wide range of shows like the original podcast, True Crime and Wine Time, The Hey Ho Show, the investigation into the disappearance of Chase Lackey, Night Court, Midday Missing, the transcripts. Plus, you don't want to miss our latest series, Dearest Mother's Darkest Secrets, which is exclusively on YouTube with new episodes dropping every Tuesday at noon. Now, channel members get early access a week before the public. So we do go live several times a week, and we also drop additional content several times a week. So you're going to want to make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay in the loop. Also, occasionally JT and I do just decide to pop in and do a quick live. If you click on that bell, it will notify you and let you know we're on so you don't miss any of our shenanigans. There is so much exciting content coming up that, trust me when I say, you will not want to miss it. But now we're going to jump into our first case. On the night of November 21st, 1979, 15-year-old Marie Blee attended a 4-H dance at the Pavilion in Craig, Colorado, full of excitement and the energy of a teenager ready to enjoy the night with friends. However, by the next morning, she had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a decades-long mystery that has gripped the town of Hayden and all of northwestern Colorado ever since. After the dance, Maria, I guess it's Marie, a sophomore at Hayden High School, she went with her friend Marty Dean Doolin to a party at the Shadow Mountain Village Mobile Home Park. The party, according to witnesses, was rowdy, with a lot of male attendees and drug use, which alarmed Marie's female friends. While her friends made the decision to leave, Marie chose to stay behind. Guys, I have to tell you, I was once young. I probably would have been Marie and would have stayed behind. Why? Because when people tell me what to do, I do the opposite. And I was even worse when I was a teenager. So there is no shame for Marie, because Marie, that is what a teenager does. Doolin later told authorities that Marie said she had a ride home with an unidentified driver between 1:30 and 2 a.m. on that night. He claimed this was the last time he saw her. Other witnesses reported seeing Marie at a store in Craig in the early morning hours, but the accounts from that night remain murky and conflicting, with no one able to pinpoint exactly when or where Marie was last seen. Guys, teenagers, drugs, alcohol, probably their brains were not really working and paying attention. The morning after the party, when Marie failed to return home, her parents filed a missing person report. At first, authorities suspected Marie had run away, but her family vehemently denied the possibility, stating it was entirely out of character for this dedicated student. She was a Girl Scout and a 4-H member. As days passed with no sign of her, it became clear that something more sinister might have occurred. Unfortunately, as we hear way too often, the initial investigation into Marie's disappearance was plagued with missteps. Crucial witnesses weren't interviewed, and possible suspects slipped through the cracks. The critical early days of the case were marred by a lack of cooperation between law enforcement agencies, and Marie's case went cold with no solid leads to follow. Just a week after Marie disappeared, her case took a chilly turn. Marty Dean Doolin, the same friend who had taken Maria to the party, was arrested for extortion. He admitted to calling Marie's family and demanding $5,000 in exchange for her safe return, claiming that she was still alive. Doolin eventually pleaded guilty to telephone harassment and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. He maintained that he had no real knowledge of Marie's whereabouts and only made the call to give her family false hope. Guys, I'm going to just say he didn't do it to give them false hope. He did it because he wanted $5,000. In my opinion, adding to the complexity of this case, Doolin was later convicted of an unrelated sexual assault, casting a dark shadow over his credibility. Despite his criminal record, he consistently denied any involvement in Marie's disappearance. And the disturbing extortion attempt remains a critical but a confusing piece of the puzzle. Guys, I want to say I don't know why they didn't maybe offer to give him a lighter sentence or a plea deal or something on that other sexual assault case to get him to talk about what he knew about Marie. In the small town of Craig, rumors about Marie's fate spread like wildfire. Wildfire, not flower. Some speculated that she had run away, but most believed something far darker happened to her. One theory, supported by some witness statements, suggested that Marie died of a drug overdose at the party and that her body was hidden by frightened partygoers. Yet, despite several excavation attempts, no evidence has been found to confirm this. Authorities eventually identified 2 additional persons of interest besides Doolin: Max Abel Garcia and Stephen Skufka, both of whom were present at the party. Skufka, in particular, has remained a figure of suspicion over the years, though he has denied any involvement in Marie's disappearance up until his death in 2012. He was later convicted of drug-related charges and served time in prison. But like with Doolin, there was never enough evidence to tie him directly to Marie's case. In 1999, 20 years after Marie vanished, a task force of local and federal investigators reopened the case, determined to bring closure to the Blee family and the tight-knit community that had never forgotten Marie. It was led by the Moffat County Sheriff's Department. The task force conducted over 200 interviews, uncovering new leads and possible burial sites. But despite these efforts, Marie's body has never been found, and her fate remains a mystery. For Marie's mother, Mona Blee, the years of not knowing have taken a heavy toll. In 2000, after 2 decades of hoping for answers, Mona expressed cautious optimism, saying it feels like we are closer than ever to finding her. Despite the passage of time, the family has held onto a glimmer of hope, even maintaining the same telephone number in case Marie or someone with knowledge of her whereabouts ever wants to call. In a particularly heartbreaking statement, Mona shared the inner conflict that has haunted her family. She said, "I'm sure that there's always that corner that as long as she has not appeared, maybe she is still alive. Those hopes have diminished over the years, but until we see remains, it's not an easy thing to accept." Guys, that breaks my heart. Having your child murdered is hard. I don't know how I would survive it, but not knowing what happened to your child, to me, sounds 10 times worse. But I don't know because I've never gone through it. The disappearance of Marie Blee remains a mystery in the heart of northwestern Colorado. To this day, buttons bearing the question, "Where's Marie?" are worn by residents, a reminder that her case is still unsolved and that she has not been forgotten. For investigators, the challenge of solving a case now more than 4 decades old is immense. Foggy memories, conflicting witness statements, and a mishandled initial investigation have all hindered progress. But despite these obstacles, authorities have continued to pursue leads, searching for burial sites, and following up on every tip, no matter how small. As Undersheriff Jerry Hoberg said in 2000, "Some days I think we're real close, and some days it's like, are we ever going to get anything done?" For Mona and Paul Blee, the hardest part is the uncertainty. As Mona put it, "I sometimes wonder what she would look like now. I can't imagine why, after all these years, nobody is willing to come forward and say, this is what happened. It's terribly frustrating. I just wish someone would call." After all the years, the search for Marie continues. Authorities and her family remain hopeful that one day someone will come forward with the truth. They just want to bring Marie home and know what happened. If you have any information about the key to solving this case, please contact the Moffat County Sheriff's Department. The Blee family and their community deserve answers. You can call the Moffat County Sheriff's Office at 970-824-4495. Any information is welcomed. And we will ask that you please share Marie's missing person flyer that will be posted on our social media pages. Let's help this family get the answers they deserve. Our next case is just as heartbreaking and is just as old. More than 30 years ago, Norine Higuchi Brown left her home to buy ingredients for Christmas cookies, never to return. What should have been a simple, joyful task turned into a nightmare that still haunts her family and friends today. On a cold December night in 1990, this devoted mother of two vanished without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that is yet to be solved. Born on December 13th, 1958, Norine was known for her warm, loving spirit and her deep dedication to her family. She grew up on Long Island and attended Uniondale High School, and later worked in an office before meeting her future husband, John Brown. Together, they built a life in New Hyde Park, raising their two young children, Alexa and Anthony. With the holiday season in full swing, Norine was in the midst of creating treasured Christmas memories with her family. On the afternoon of December 12th, 1990, Norine spent the day Christmas shopping with her children and her sister Susan. The day was full of festive cheer, with a stop to visit Santa before Norine dropped Susan off at her home. After a long day of holiday preparation, Noreen returned home. But around 11 p.m., she left again to pick up ingredients for Christmas cookies. She told John she'd be back soon, but tragically, that was the last time anyone saw her. Guys, I can remember so many times during the holidays that I left late at night to get last minute ingredients for something I was cooking or to pick up more tape to wrap presents. So I can so envision how that can happen. I also have to say that that's not unusual, even if it was cold outside. Cookies need to be made, right? She was probably going to stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning and make cookies. Now, the next day, which should have been a day of celebration for Noreen's 32nd birthday, her husband John awoke on the couch to find that his wife had never returned. He called Noreen's best friend, Elaine, to ask if Noreen had spent the night at her house, following what he described as a minor argument between him and Noreen. But Elaine hadn't heard from her. Concerned, John asked Elaine to check the nearby Pathmark supermarket where Noreen had planned to shop. What she found there would send chills down her spine. Guys, I have to say, my husband, hopefully all of my husbands, if I left to go get ingredients to make cookies and I didn't come home, I would hope that you wouldn't wait till the next morning to call my bestie to find out if I was there. If I'm not back from the store in an hour, you damn well better be trying to find me. That's all I'm going to say about that. I also want to know, why didn't he go to the store to check? Why did he need Elaine to do it? Noreen's station wagon was parked in the Pathmark lot, locked and packed with Christmas gifts, but there was no sign of Noreen. Inside the car, police later found $45 in her pocketbook, but her wallet and identification had been left at home. No one could recall seeing Noreen inside the store that night, and her disappearance immediately sparked a desperate search. John Brown was a firefighter with the fire department in New York. He mobilized his fellow firefighters to help search for his missing wife. Police interviewed Pathmark employees who remembered seeing her car, but not Noreen herself. One unsettling detail emerged: a report of an argument in the parking lot that night. John speculated that Noreen may have been murdered during a confrontation, but police were unable to verify this. As the days turned into weeks, whispers of trouble with Noreen and John's marriage began to surface. According to Elaine, the couple had a tumultuous relationship, and she had harbored suspicions that John might have been involved in her friend's disappearance. Yet, despite these concerns, John was never named a suspect, and no solid evidence connected him to her vanishing. Guys, I want to tell you, tumultuous relationships do end in tragedy sometimes. And I personally can say my bestie knows every time I get into an argument with Double H. It's just the way I think most females are. Now, the pain of Noreen's disappearance was further compounded by a bitter legal battle that would forever strain her family. Noreen's parents, heartbroken over the loss of their daughter, sought to maintain a close relationship with their grandchildren, Alexa and Anthony. That was the only part of their daughter that they had left. However, in May 1994, when they sued John for visitation rights, tension between the two sides reached a boiling point. Noreen's mother had been vocal about her belief that John was somehow involved in Noreen's disappearance. a belief she did not keep secret in court. This led to a heartbreaking ruling in favor of John, as a court expressed concern that Norine's mother might share her suspicions with the children, potentially influencing their perception of their father. The court denied unsupervised visitations, instead, recommending supervised visits to ensure that the grandmother's thoughts about John wouldn't be passed on to the children. Guys, I honestly do not know how I feel about that. I think a relationship between grandparents and their grandchildren are critical. My grandmother was my best friend growing up. My mama knew everything about me. She knew the first time I had sex. She knew the first time I had my heart broken. She knew when I got pregnant before my husband did. So, grandparents are important. I do not understand why the courts could not have said, okay, you can have unsupervised visitation, but if we hear that you share this belief of yours, we're going to have to make changes. Why immediately assume she's going to do that? Just because she's advocating for her daughter doesn't mean she's going to put her beliefs on her grandchildren. This ruling shattered any hopes Norine's family had of maintaining a transparent relationship with their grandchildren, deepening the emotional scars left by her disappearance. The grandchildren grew up separated from their mother's side of the family as the unresolved mystery of Norine's fate loomed over their lives. As the years went by, Norine's case grew cold. Media attention faded, and it seemed like her story might be forgotten. However, in 2017, Norine's friends, led by Elaine and others, who reunited at a high school reunion, vowed to reignite the investigation. Together, they worked to bring Norine's case back into the public eye, collaborating with Nassau County Police Department in the hopes that new leads might emerge. In 2019, a tip suggested that Norine's remains could be buried in a sealed well behind the apartment building where she and John once lived. While the well was considered a place of interest, it remains unclear to this day if it was ever searched. Despite the decades that have passed, Norine's loved ones remain hopeful that the truth will one day come to light. Now, John Brown has since remarried, had 2 more children, and he retired from his position at the FDNY, where he once served as fire commissioner. Meanwhile, Norine's children, now adults, have no known relationship with their mother's family. Guys, that is a tragedy to me. I also can't help but wonder, did police maybe not look into John as much because of his position within the fire department? I don't know how close the fire department and the police department are. I do know police officers and some firemen. I know they get along really well. So I can't help but wonder that. Today, Norine's disappearance remains an open case, and those who knew and loved her refuse to give up the fight for answers. The holidays have never been the same for her family and friends, who still cling to hope that one day they will discover what truly happened to Norine on that cold December night. If you have any information about the disappearance of Norine Brown, please contact the Nassau County Police Department at 516-573-8800, or you can email tips to findnorine@gmail.com. Her loved ones believe that together they can bring Norine home and find out what happened to her. Guys, once again, please share Norine's missing person flyer that you can find on our social media. I also want to say, anyone that is friends with John Brown, if you suspect or have any information, please share it. Her family deserves to know the answers. And I want to say, if someone else abducted her from that grocery store parking lot, please come forward. This family deserves to know the truth. Now, today, instead of a cute little story, I wanted to share some of the top tips for staying safe. So, whether you're walking to your car after work, heading out for a run, or simply enjoying a night out, being alone in public can sometimes leave you feeling vulnerable. Kidnappings are rare, but they are real. And taking a few precautions can go a long way towards protecting yourself. Here are some practical tips to stay safe when you're out alone, help reducing the risk of dangerous situations like kidnapping, muggings, murders. Number one, stay aware of your surroundings. One of the most important things you can do to protect yourself is to stay vigilant. Put away distractions like your phone, your earbuds, especially when walking in isolated areas or during late hours. Always take note of who and what is around you. Being aware and alert can help you spot potential dangers early and give you time to react appropriately. Now, a quick tip: regularly scan your surroundings and trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Listen to it. Number two, stick to a well lit and populated area. Whenever possible, choose routes that are well lit and heavily trafficked. Areas with lots of people are less likely to attract someone with bad intentions. If you're walking or jogging alone, try to do so during daylight hours. If it's, after dark, stick to main roads in busy streets. Number three, share your location. Guys, I just did this with my bestie again. We were together last Sunday and she was looking at her phone. She goes, "Oh, I can't see your location anymore." We fixed it right then. So check on sharing your location too. It might expire sometimes. Letting someone know where you are when you're out alone is simple but effective way to stay safe. Share your live location with a trusted friend or family members via your smartphone. This way, someone is aware of your movements and can check in if you don't return as planned. Keep a safe distance. Number four, whether you're walking on a sidewalk or standing in line, maintaining a good distance from others can help keep you out of danger. Avoid letting strangers get too close and be mindful if someone appears to be following you or matching your pace. If you sense something isn't right, cross the street or go into a store or a crowded area to distance yourself from this person. Another quick tip: walk with purpose and confidence. Predators are less likely to target someone who appears aware and in control. Number five, carry personal safety tools. I'm not talking about a gun, people. So don't think I'm going to go say that. But carrying a personal safety tool can give you a peace of mind and serve as a deterrent in case of danger, like pepper spray, a whistle, a personal alarm, or even a tactical flashlight can be useful for self defense. Make sure you're familiar with how to use any safety tool effective in an emergency. Don't wait until you're in the emergency to use it. Quick tip: keep your safety tool in an easily accessible place, such as your pocket or attached to your keychain so you can reach it quickly if needed. Number 6, set strong personal boundaries. Don't be afraid to assert yourself if someone makes you uncomfortable. It's okay to speak up, move away, or create distance if you feel threatened. Use firm body language and a strong voice to let others know that you're not an easy target. A quick tip: practice saying no or back off firmly and confidently. It can help prepare you for a situation where you might need to act quickly and decisively. Number 7, kind of sounds like I'm beating this horse dead. Trust your instincts. Your instincts are one of your best tools when it comes to personal safety. Like I said, if something doesn't feel right, whether it's a person, a situation, or location, trust your instincts. Don't hesitate to remove yourself. Okay. You don't need to rationalize your instincts. Your safety comes first. So it's always better to be cautious. And if you feel uneasy in any situation, listen to that feeling. It's better to be safe than sorry. Don't worry about being embarrassed. Number 8, know basic self defense techniques. Learning a few self defense techniques can give you an added layer of security when you're out alone. Basic moves such as how to break free from a wrist grab or how to block an attacker can make a significant difference in an emergency. Many local gyms, community centers, and self defense studios offer short courses specifically designed for this perfect purpose. Quick tip: self defense training isn't just about physical techniques, it's also about building the confidence to protect yourself in any situation. Number 9, I'm going to tell you, I am bad at this, and I am going to commit to being better. If you're going somewhere unfamiliar, plan your route ahead of time. Knowing exactly where you're going and how to get there can help you avoid getting lost or wandering into unsafe areas. GPS apps can guide you through safe and populated routes, reducing the chance of getting into a dangerous situation. A quick tip: always have a backup plan in case your original route becomes unavailable. Know where you can go for help, such as a nearby business, police station, fire station. Like I said, I'm really bad at that. I wait until I'm in the car, punch it into GPS, and take off. I'm going to work to be better at that. Number 10, keep your hands free. I'm also bad at this. Whenever possible, keep your hands free while walking alone. Avoid carrying too many bags or holding your phone in a way that distracts you from your surroundings. If you need to use your phone, stop in a safe area where you can remain aware of your environment while you check maps, text, or calls. Guys, I'm horrible about that. So I will commit to trying to be better about that. Now, here's a quick tip: crossbody bags and backpacks are great for freeing up your hands while ensuring your belongings stay secure. Number 11, have an escape plan. Whether you are walking down the street, sitting in a cafe, or waiting for public transportation, always be mindful of your surroundings and have an escape plan in mind. Guys, anytime I go to a store, a restaurant, a doctor's office, I look for the emergency exit and for other doors. Okay. So it's really important. Okay. You want to identify safe spaces nearby, such as stores, restaurants, crowded areas. Because if you feel threatened, you need to be able to go quickly. Like I said, quick tip: familiarize yourself with exits whenever you're indoors. Okay. It's important. Number 12, let someone know your plans If you're heading out for an extended period, especially at night, tell someone you trust where you are going and when you expect to return. Having a check in system in place ensures someone will notice if something goes wrong and can alert authorities if necessary. Guys, this is a quick tip, and it is something I do with Double H, my kids, and my bestie. A simple text message to a friend or a family member can be an effective safety measure when heading out alone. Guys, when my girlfriend Catherine leaves my house to drive home, I always say, text me when you get home. When I'm at her house or we meet up somewhere, we both text when we get home. That way, if we're not home in the designated time, we know something's gone wrong. Now, while there are no guarantees when it comes to personal safety, being prepared and cautious can significantly reduce your risk. Like I said, trust your instincts, stay aware of your surroundings, and have a plan in place to keep yourself safe when you're out alone. I want to add to this. If you're going out drinking, make sure you don't drink to the extent you cannot keep your facilities. If you're alone, you do not need to leave a bar walking because you're just not as sharp, you're buzzed. Have a friend walk with you. Okay. Because there's nothing wrong with enjoying your wine time. Let's just do it safely. Okay. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. I want to remind you, please share the missing person flyers for our cases today. And remember, when you're out, pay attention to your surroundings. And I look forward to seeing you all again on Monday for our next episode of Midday Missing. In the meantime, be sure to join our Facebook group, follow us on social media. You can catch all of our productions right here on our YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can listen to our podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, stay safe, watch out for crime, and enjoy your wine time.